hello to the camera. Do not poop your pants.
I think that's everybody's motto, right?
Incoming transmission. Download complete.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Bradcast show after tournament report. Tonight with us, we have Paul Cote, who got somewhere. He got fourth place tonight in the Cash Bash tournament. Hey, Paul, thanks for coming onto the show. Thank you for coming to the tournament.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. I have not pooped my pants today.
Oh, I'm so glad about that.
So, Paul, tell us about your team, what you played today on your main four sideline and maps.
All right, so today I played Scarlet Witch with the Darkhold, Commissioner, Puppet Master with the Radioactive Clay, Barbella, Bishop Prime, the Cloak of Levitation, Scarab, and Sicarian Iron Man. And the sideline was just a couple of Scroll Spies and a couple of Sentinels. Oh, and yeah, that's it.
What about your maps?
I play for maps. I played Krakoa, the Chemical Factory. What was that called? What is that
Cool
called?
Factory?
Yeah, it's one of the rock maps that became legal. Chemical.
Uh,
Basically, I was trying to do a bunch of maps that had elevated. It was like Chemical Warehouse, and then the last one was Iron Man's Workshop.
okay.
So the radioactive clay is kind of like one of my main initiations. It's one of my main ways of attacking is for the scarab to attack through after copying the radioactive clay from Puppet Master, and he can target through objects. So the radioactive clay can see through blocking, elevated, and hindering, but not characters. And there's sort of a way around that the targeting issues if it's the objects are on elevated.
So the map was Overview Chemicals, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So was this the map choice? Was this were you aware of the updated legal map list, or were these maps something that you specifically designed with before the legal map list? Updated map
They
list.
they were after the updated
Okay,
map list for sure. I
so
would have done data mine.
awful map.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible, but
And this is if
yeah.
you even won map because you're not a think team, right?
No, I mean I won map one time, and
Okay.
I picked the wrong map because I had spent a lot more time designing this team than actually playing it.
Uh, so the team that you have, I think it's pretty cool with Puppet Master working uh, in congruent with Scarab. It's pretty cool. Um,
Yes, and it's also not like on team turns where I'm not planning to do a mind control. Um, he can also copy the Darkhold and be able to like if they're bearing up on the other side, he can copy the Darkhold and like have a prob to you know from basically every anywhere in the map, and like Sakara and Iron Man teams are really popular right now, and they're really love that cloak of levitation.
mhm.
So it's hard to not give Scarab like that's usually the way people deal with Scarab is like they just don't equip, and kind of doesn't feel optional to not equip right now with Sakari and Iron Man and the cloak of levitation.
Yeah, you playing with one arm behind your back if you don't play with your cloak with him.
And Scarlet Witch is all over the place. Scarlet Witch is really good. And without her Darkhold, she is a lot less scary. So I don't feel like anyone's gonna choose not to equip her. So like, you know, that's that gives a lot of targeting options, and that's one of the reasons why I think Scarab is really good right now. Scarab with the radioactive clay specifically, also very good.
Uh, what was uh, what was the starting point for this team? What made you want to build it the way that you did?
So I've always thought that the Rune Marker Bishop combo is kind of like the new you remember like Harry Leland Bishop teams.
Hmm.
So I had a Puppet Master Scarab Harry Leland Bishop team, and I just feel like Scarlet Witch is just way better than Harry Leland. Just outside of the Rune Marker versus the bubble that Harry Leland has, just the powers that she has, the fact that she has a stop click, the fact that she has double rollouts, you know, and can uh, running shot for with a 12 square reach. It's pretty good. Has
Yeah.
every support power that you need at the time. It's pretty cool. And you know, I've been pretty consistently. I've played a lot of Scarab with the radioactive clay. For a while, I was doing that on monsters, and he feels great against Sicarian Iron Man, and he feels great with Sicarian Iron Man because he can like Sicarian Iron Man sometimes just wants to like run out a zone and do his own thing, and then Scarab can like give him some support from the other side of the map.
Are you ever engaging with the rest of your team though? With Commissioner, Puppet Master, Morvala, and Bishop? Or is it just
Yeah,
Scarlet Witch, Scarlet Iron Man, and Scarab doing, doing most of the work?
Rookie does a lot of the damage. The main idea is to force them to come into me. Um, like whether that's like in some of the games, it was like rookie, you know, goes out and kills a Marvella or whatever, and now I'm up on points, and I would then have the ability to like mind control them on the other side of the map. So I'm like ushering them to come in closer, and the bubble of no play zone with Scarlet Witch and the no range zone in Bishop makes it difficult for them to approach. So it's kind of a yeah.
Okay. Uh, One more thing to kind of go over your build before we go into your matches. You're playing an unthemed team. Right now,
Uh,
with the online scene specifically, uh, people are noticing that the average theme team count is around 7 to 8, maybe on the lower side 6.
mhm.
Yeah, so how come you're not trying to uh, meet or beat those numbers? Well, why are you just going straight on the theme team and just giving up on the initiative role?
Right. Yeah. Great question. So the way I see theme is you want to be like two or three higher than the most popular teams out there. Assuming there is a hard set teams. Right now, Sicarian Iron Man scientists or Sicarian Iron Man Spider Man family is, and there's like 70 different versions of each.
Hmm.
Um, that is by far the most popular build, and they're like averaging a +8. And while there are teams out there that are +9 or +10, it feels like more of a stretch than in the days when I was playing, you know, Scarab on monsters with the radioactive play, and because Wendigo was there, I had a 15-point win condition. Like the loss of Wendigo, the loss of Proteus, the loss of like a lot of the Gorilla Grods and the Trouble Alerts. Um, It's just harder to get a plus 10 or plus 11 or plus 12 team that's as good as before. Um, yeah, so I mean, there's some X-Men teams that can get up there, or whatever. But um, if you can't go higher than them, then you just play the best pieces possible, or you play a low theme and just you don't worry about it. That's that's my current thought. Plus, I just really like the pieces.
Sure, that's something I've been thinking about the last few days. Was the tournament posting that I did after last week. Uh, Typically, I don't really highlight um, the what people are playing, like all the builds overall. But I noticed that like half the field was unthemed, and it just seemed something to note because there seems to be a lot of emphasis on playing themed when that might be uh, changing the tides, so to speak. Maybe
Right.
if
So
you can't beat them, then give up trying to beat them.
up trying to beat them, or well, and also like, or play a team that doesn't mind going second.
Yeah,
So like the ruler team that I played, where I was also playing Scarab with the radioactive clay, but it was on Spider-Man family. Um, the radioactive clay, I have to equip it. I was so instead of playing Puppet Master, who comes automatically equipped with the radioactive clay, which is what I'm doing this time. If you just play the radioactive clay for 5 points and plan to equip it, you need to go first. Otherwise, the radioactive clay is destructible and you just blow it up.
yeah, that's the
And
issue with
a lot of
the older objects is that
yeah,
most of them you could just shoot them, and
right.
if you uh, Emily Rowett, the
Emotion
2020,
modifier.
she lost her emotional modifier every game that she went second, I believe. No, yeah, and or what was her? Did she play emotional modifier on the team? She did, right? No, it was Chemical Fire.
Oh,
That's
chemical fire. Yeah.
yeah. She lost it every match. She went second because you have to against Thanos. But if it was indestructible, I think it'd be less likely for them to be destroyed. But even then, I'm seeing teams that if they see the Sakai and Iron Man across the field and they get to go first against them, they're probably going to try to steal his cloak if it's advantageous enough to do so. Uh, Maybe not destroy
Right.
it, but at least make him work for it a little bit more. That doesn't feel good,
Right.
especially
Like Scarab can't just destroy the cloak, but he can use telekinesis to move it back squares
yeah,
and just make it harder for them to get it to it. And they might not be able to equip it if that happens.
because oftentimes
And
when people build in mind, they don't build in mind for the worst case scenario or for hiccups in their initial setup. Uh,
hmm
that's that's actually one of the reasons when I'm playtesting for a big tournament, I playtest to go first and second, and on both sides of the map, the first like two turns to see how it would go. And if I don't like the map and if I don't like the setup, then I need to adjust, especially if I'm going second. I'm very super tedious like that.
right. But this is all like making huge assumptions on how the meta, if the meta is going to stay that way, and but it does appear that Sakari and Iron Man Spider-Man family, or Sakari and Iron Man scientist, is like, I would not be surprised if it was half of the top 16.
Spider-Man family is a good keeper. There's a lot to go with it.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So
Thanos is also good, but
yeah,
like you have to plan. You have to plan as if you're going to play that type of team with a plus 7 or better, several times during the tournament. You have to plan for that.
Mhm. So let's go into your matches.
Sure.
You played against Josafa Alves round one, I believe.
Yeah.
Should I go over his build, or can you recall what he played?
A couple of maggots, Chip, two Marvellas, Karnak. Uh, what else do you have? Molecule Man. Was that about it?
Uh, let's see. The Flash, Tempo,
Or
Mal
Flash, right?
yep. Chip, Karnak, Motion Modifier, Magella, Darkhold. Yep, that sounds about right.
No, I'd rather not talk about this game. I just, I
Well,
had
you can
just
make it as
woken up.
quick and painless as possible as you want to.
I completely messed this game up. I for whatever reason thought the map that I picked was outdoors when it was indoors, and like my plan was to kill one of his Marvellas with rookie. Set up. I had one map. My plan. We were both unthemed. I had one map. My plan was to have the rookie kill Marvella so he couldn't barrier as much. He'd have to approach, and I would put up the Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch was TK'd a little bit ahead of the rest of the group and put up the no play zone to funnel where his dropship team could come, and also make it so that like Karnak can't just outwit her stop click of uh, of Scarlet Witch and one shot her. Um,
What was the map that you put
so
him
I
on?
and I just I the chemicals thing was turns out is indoors, and I I just never played on it, and just it was a stupid idea. I'd also just woken up, so I was like, yeah. So I was like, I go to do it, I'm like, oh, that doesn't work, and then I run out Sakari and Iron Man instead. Then he kills Sakari and Iron Man. I kill Flash. Then he approaches, and just on both sides, we were just taking way too much time, and like he ended up winning on points, and it was because he got his Alpha Strike off and like killed Bishop. So he killed Bishop and Sakari and Iron Man. Yeah, that was how that game went.
It
It
looks like
was
he scored an additional 5 points off of you somewhere. Uh,
the cloak,
okay.
the
Gotcha.
cloak. Yeah, he just like destroyed the cloak. He killed Sakarian and killed Bishop, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
95?
95. Oh, sorry, I didn't care about the quick part. I thought it was just
Yeah,
Sakari and
right. And then
Bishop.
I killed Flash and Marvel, so that should be 45 points. And
Yep,
then
that equals out. All right, let's get out of this terrible match that you screwed up on. Uh, Ra-
and then the next one was against Miles. Yeah,
Miles Kane, that is correct. Good job.
yeah. So that was just a that was all. There was a lot of just weird games, but everyone was having fun, and everyone was good sports. So it was like yeah, whatever. Um, uh, that one, um, Ewan's map takes me to negative zone. We're both kind of bearing up a bit. His let's go over his team. His team was also a Sakarian Iron Man, Spider-Man family team. He had this. Didn't he have the
It looks like he had a Fantastic Four
a
swap
fan-
on the team as
right
well.
Fantastic Four swap? Yeah, because those are celebrities, so you can just put them in with Spider-Man family. He was a little bit. He had some spiciness to it. He had a party Thor. You like seeing that.
Hmm.
He had an
Love that.
Agnes party Thor. He ended up swapping to Franklin Richards,
And
and
Jim
I don't
Hammond,
remember.
Mr. Fantastic, or Valerian Bunting.
Yeah, I think Jim Hammond and Franklin were who he ended up swapping to.
Okay, that's not a bet.
Um,
Scott Crampton kind of shits on Jim Hammond, but I think he's a good enough piece, a leadership and shield team ability.
Yeah, and his attack is low, so you can't mind control to hit him.
Yeah, he's not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah, he's probably not worth 35 points, but you're not like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
whatever. I played him before.
It's not great,
There's
but
that
he serves a purpose.
right, yeah. He's also just an uncommon, so it's okay. Um, and yeah, so we kind of barriered up on each of our side because he had the emotional modifier, and I kept missing the scarab attacks because that's usually the plan. Is you mind control them from the other side of the map, and then like have one of their characters attack another of their characters. Um, but we kind of danced around with that, and like I would miss the second attack, so I'd have mind controlled someone, and then they would miss their attack, and it just like there was a lot of dancing around and positioning. Um, uh, I think I tried to go in with rookie and missed.
Mm.
And then uh, okay, so eventually he put Sakarian up like 6 squares to get a shot in, and then barrier it around him. I then had rookie. This no, I had Scarlet Witch destroy the barrier, so she running starts to destroy the barrier. Then I had Sakari Scarab mind control his Sakarian Iron Man. So destroying the blocking meant that I was able to walk him away from his position. So I mind control him just to walk forward 7 squares, so that I could flurry on him with my Sakarian Iron Man, and then I choked all of my attacks.
Mm.
um, there was just like there was a lot of weird dice stuff that went on that game. Um, I was able to take out his. He was able to hit my Sakarian Iron back a little bit. I know scoring Party Thor was the first thing I was able to do. Um,
It's not exactly easy though, but you have a wit on your team.
yeah, when you have two outwits, it's a lot easier. Um, and then just kind of he was in a bad position from having his Sakarian be mind controlled on my side of the field. So like he was spending a lot of actions to get his figures over to my side,
Mm.
and just losing a lot of tempo that way. If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah,
While like
the
rookie could like take shots, and then commissioner can make rookie take a shot.
it's a really interesting team, but that's the uh, when you are trying to, in my opinion, you're trying to make these outside the box builds, which we all love and appreciate. I uh, that's the whole point. Or going to these tournaments to see different things. But I still think that whenever you're playing, has to be able to do what everybody else is doing, which is to alpha strike and be able to hit 2 or 3 times. Or you have to be able to move up and be able to protect yourself while you know you're getting shot at.
Right.
So you can eventually be able to get into the fight. It sounds like he had barrier on this team and blockers on this team, but
He
not
had
a good.
barrier. He didn't have a good way of destroying barrier.
Well, yeah, that's often overlooked. If you don't have a molecule man, then you need to come up with a way to be able to get through that barrier. If you're not playing Thanos or molecule man.
Yeah, and even if you do have a molecule man, you need a plan to get him within range to clear out the barrier.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention after was that doesn't seem like he has a good taxi for this team. Like everybody can, a lot of them can fly, but there's not a lot of them that can carry more than 1 or 2 people.
Right, right.
That's an often overlooked component with team building. Is who's your taxi to get a lot of your squad across. You build with Perplex and Crab and Telekinesis and Barrier and Hypersonic Speed to make your Alpha. But then what about the rest of the team? Because he has good, there's a lot of good support pieces, but there's just something missing there.
Agnes is insane, and I keep trying to put her on more teams. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, she's criminally underused. I need to build
right.
with her more. But just I don't know why I'm not.
Yeah, I kept trying to like take the Marvella out and make it so that that would mean Sakarian could go off and pick off other pieces. It was just yeah, I kept I kept missing some weird shots, but yeah, that
Did
was a
the
cool game.
did that Senior Scratchy do anything? Or
Oh, Senior Scratchy is incredible. Senior Scratchy just was coming up often because like his entire team is celebrities.
yep. Well, except for the Fantastic Four pieces, uh,
Right.
but his two-man attackers, Iron Man and Thor, yeah, that's a plus one to attack and damage is pretty good.
Mhm.
Okay, so you won that match. I believe it was 115 to 45, 55, something like that.
Is that really all I got was 115? Okay.
It says here, round two, you scored 115 and he scored 50. So yeah, it was another low scoring game.
Yeah, there's a lot of low scoring games this time. Well, this is more of a defensive team. This is more of a I can attack you from across the map, and you'll have trouble getting into me because I have barrier and the rune markers and bishop with the shard.
Hmm.
Yeah, it there was a lot of brawling in that game, and a lot of attacks were made, and a lot not a lot of things died, despite there being so many attack rolls. So that's what I
I
meant by a little bit of a weird game.
he has a fair amount of rollouts on the team with Party Thor, Agnes. Um, I'm assuming Franklin picked a rollout here and there, and
Mm-hmm.
Mary Jane as
Absolutely.
well, having a rollout and I Don't Die built into her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Party Thor seemed fine. Uh, seemed, you know, like
He's not something you can ignore.
no, because with Senior Scratchy, he's a 13 for he's a running shot 13 for three, and that's plenty good. And then I was having to spend two outwits to take care of his invincible and his shape change.
Yeah.
He still has an 18 defense. So yeah, I mean that that was pretty cool. Good piece.
So
Um,
round three, you played against a person named Patrick Frazier,
a
20,
person, a myth, a legend.
2019 national champion.
Yeah, which was kind of the first time I was like kind of starting to really play HeroClix. So yeah, he was playing another Spider-Man family with Sakari and Iron Man. This one also had a Fantastic Four swap. He swapped a little differently. Um, I don't remember exactly what he started out with, but he ended up with a. He did go for Franklin Richards. That was the same.
Mhm.
He got a Mister Fantastic, so the Slender Man Mister Fantastic. A Bentley 20, so like basically just 20 points for a leadership. Okay, let me go on a rant really quick. Leadership seems like it's so much harder to get these days. I I know I was playing Jason Wingard for a long time, and I played Blackheart for a while, but it felt like this is the first time since I've been playing where been having to struggle to get leaderships onto my squad. There's been some times where I'm playing like Kid Loki because that's the leadership that's available in in deity Asgard Spider-Man family.
No,
Like that's the best option.
I
Or the
definitely concur with that. When I was building a couple teams a few days ago in the last week, I was like, I need leadership, and none of the pieces I have. So I had to kind of rework the team just because
right,
without leadership, it was like the I did not want to play Kid Loki or uh, the Spirit of the Game Pod or uh,
I've played Kid Loki before, and I don't mind him. I've come to think he's that little mini. He's got that effect that's almost not as good as an emotional modifier, but it is
yeah.
close.
Yeah, I like
Because,
it. Just that it
yeah,
didn't fit the bill, but more it was more like I didn't
right,
want to play Aaliyah Gregor because it was more closer to 20 points than it was closer to his
right.
points. So it was Skinny Steve and Aaliyah Gregor, the pieces I was looking at, was like they do not fit the team. So
Yeah,
it's but then
it's like
on the flip side of that, it seems like the pieces that all do have leadership, a lot of them like share the same keywords, so there's a lot of overlap.
right, yeah, yeah. So like Commissioner Flash, and then like, but the thing is, like, those two pieces are usually getting targeted pretty early.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, this is just some. So like, so he had a Bentley for like 20 points, and no one's questioning it. They're just like, yep. I mean, that's the going price for leadership these days. We got spoiled, I guess, with with being able to play commissioner on monsters, or having a Jason Wingard or something like that. Like that's just what we have to do these days. We got to play Kid Loki. Suck it up. All right, so that was my rant. Because like, yeah, Jim Hammond and Bentley probably aren't the most exciting HeroClix, but you need leadership on a
Yeah.
HeroClix team. Um,
I don't know. There's the new X Swords guy.
yeah. There's also like Valeria on Doom, who has a 30-point leadership on the Fantastic Four swap, which is probably what I would do, but I understand 30 points is awkward to fit in. Anyways, so enough of that. Enough about the leadership. I didn't even finish explaining his team. He also had the Scarlet Witch. He also had the Sicarian Iron Man. He why am I thinking he didn't have Flash? No,
No,
he
he
didn't have
had
that.
two deep cut
Uh,
human torches, Marvella,
yeah,
and
he
three.
didn't have any of the Chase Spider-Man family, as I recall.
No,
It
looks
was
like it
just
says
it was like just
Marvella.
the yeah. So a little bit different, a little bit different, but definitely still playing some of the really popular, really awesome pieces. So he takes me to Ultron's lair, I think. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep, that's on his map list.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So basically, he just kind of sees that I have this. He sees the combo. He's like, okay, all right. I guess I just have to move up. um, and so he kind of just like moves his team up, um, and he uses the little like eye holes. Ultron, so Ultron layer is like all on elevation 2, and then there's like little pitfalls into it
Yeah,
that form like a smiley face of a robot, basically, like an Ultron smiley face.
yeah, very
Um,
very adorable.
Yeah, yeah. So he kind of like sent one group over to one of the eyes and one of the groups to the other eyes. So like he had Scarlet Witch and Sicarian together holding hands in one eye, and then like Mr. Fantastic and Franklin in the other. I think some notable things is though like the two first times he activated Franklin's powers. So one of the times he had to, as he approached, he took Invincible. He took Battle Fury, so I couldn't mind control him. I don't remember what the other thing was, but it was probably something defensive. Um, He rolled a 3 on um his
Franklin?
I think he rolled a 3. Sorry. The after rounding a 3, so like a 5 or a 6 on
Okay.
his first two rolls for Franklin. And man, so I love Franklin. I absolutely love him. I often have him in my top 10 for characters. But like when he's very swingy. Like when he rolls high on his damage numbers, it can be rough.
It can cripple him.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Like if, I feel like if he had rolled ones there, it would have been a much different game.
I
Um,
probably would not have picked powers in the first turn if I were him.
I don't know, because if I mind control that, like if I mind control his Franklin, I can kill his Mr. Fantastic sitting next to him,
Gotcha.
and then I can walk away with the Franklin. I think he was trying for me not to walk away with the Franklin. Um, anyways, so he's able to kill Scarab with Sicarian. Uh, so my first wave of mind controls, I don't actually kill anything. I just separate his team a little bit. And then I think I kill a Marvella in that turn. Um, so this turn this game, Rookie actually did a lot of the heavy lifting. Um, Iron Man's were kind of just like um, my Sicarian Iron Man based his Franklin, um, and then they kind of like battled out in the pit, and like there were a few missed attacks, and like they're very tanky characters between Scarlet Witch, Sicarian Iron Man, Franklin. So it was like my Scarlet Witch and Sicarian Iron Man and like his crew, like they were all battling it out in the pit and very slowly killing each other. But the aerial support from Rookie, I think, if I recall correctly, was doing a good chunk of the actual damage. And the fact that he'd rolled low or rolled high on his Franklin rolls was what I remember as a pivotal moment. And there's tons of outwitting each other's powers. So we were, it was like, I outwit my team has what Scarab's outwit, Sicarian's outwit,
Uh,
Bishop's outwit, Commissioner's outwit, and then uh, Scarlet Witch can pick outwit. So like yeah, there was a lot of like making it so Sicarian can't use flurry or whatever,
that's
and
funny.
yeah, it there was a lot of surprising moments where it's like, wow, this is nothing's dying, and it was because like some major powers were being missed, were being outwitted. I mean, yeah,
Well, yeah, it sounds like you guys had a real fun game by the score of it. You won
it was fun.
300 to
Yeah, it was very
145.
close. It was very close, definitely.
So, with the team that you played today, do you feel like this is a finalized team, or it still needs some work? This is a rough draft team still.
It's a meta dependent build, is what
Okay.
I'm saying. So like if it's this is the defensive shell that I would use making assumptions, if that makes sense. Like
You mentioned that this is a low scoring team. Do you feel that if you go take this to a tournament, but the uh, single elimination portion of a
like
tournament, that you would be more likely to play this kind of team? Because in these local Friday night events, you only get 3 rounds, and so if you lose and if you score low, that puts you out of the first place contention. But if you can take this to a tournament with a single elimination, as long as you be top cut, it's anybody's game once you get there.
Um, I wouldn't. I would feel completely fine playing this in a large tournament. I think it's very solid. I mean, you know, like I mean, it, Patrick Frazier is the Nationals winning uh,
Yeah.
uh, player. So like, if it can beat some top level players, then absolutely. Um, yeah, I think it does great on any map because you're neutralizing the map. Yeah, I don't think the points are gonna. Yeah, the points wouldn't stop me from playing it or not. I think you just go to win and just hope you get a lot of points.
Well, I mean, I think that because it is defensive, it is a little bit reliant on mind control, which is still pretty good. It might not make the top half, but it should, you know, well, at least make the. When I say the top half, I mean like the top half of the top half. Does that make sense? You'll make a top cut, but I don't know.
If it goes to scores,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
as long as you can as long as you can make top cut with the team, then yeah, you just need the good matchups and just like any other team for any other tournament. Uh, things go your way, then this team, even though it can be this one, it doesn't matter as long as you can beat them in a single elimination.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you're kind of. I I feel like so, uh, Scarab is a good into the Sicarian mirror. I just feel like he being able to outwit his powers and
Oh yeah, if you can
being able to mind
outwit his
control
hypersonic across from the map, because that's what most people do,
Right.
then you're really forcing the opponent to do stuff that they don't want to do or can't do.
Right. Or if you're I mean, ideally, you're outwitting his hypersonic or his sidestep, and then you're mind controlling him and sending him seven squares back,
Yep.
and then having him punch some. So I feel like he's good, and you can't not equip Sakari and Iron Man. Like
Uh,
it's not just you're equipping him and sending like three more light objects into the wild. Like so yeah, so Scarab feels like a good play into Sakari and Iron Man, and Bishop feels like a good play, and Bishop's Scarlet Witch also feels like a good play into Thanos. Um, so this is a meta dependent build.
uh, uh,
It's making assumptions about the meta.
sure.
Oh, and then sorry, something I didn't talk about was, and something I didn't get to do this game was, unfortunately, setting up the special runes, and then if you mind control them and take them into the runes, yeah, then you can just like
It feels
have
bad
target practice them. Yeah,
just hearing about
good
that.
times.
It feels bad just hearing about that.
Feels good.
Well,
Beat people into their death. That's fun.
for you,
Yeah.
uh, we can wrap up here. Well,
Mhm.
not yet. Actually, I want to ask you something about your build. Did you play with any heavy objects on your team?
Oh, no, I did not.
Uh,
Um,
something I've been tweaking with playing unthemed with the rookie commissioner
mhm.
and the Sakari and Iron Man's on the team as well. Is I'm trying to decide if I want to have one or two heavy objects on the team. Just to be able to, because I expect to lose map, I want to be able to throw my rookie out there and hide him wherever I want to hide him.
Yep.
But the reason why I play two objects is because they have to destroy two objects. Because it's easy enough to destroy one, but it's annoying to have to destroy two.
Hmm.
So I was just curious if you thought about, since you didn't, if you might in the future kind of tweak your build to allow a heavy object or two, in
So
spite of Sakai and Iron Man.
one of the cool things is, Sakarian at the beginning of the game, you'd may generate up to three standard objects anywhere on the map. So those can be light or heavy.
Oh, I
It
thought
doesn't
they
say that.
had to be light.
Standard objects anywhere on the map.
Wow.
Doesn't say it has to be light objects. So if you really want them, you could just generate a heavy object in the square. Um,
Very
and
cool.
yes, pretty much everyone on my team, except for Scarlet Witch and Bishop, have stealth or can have stealth
Yeah.
if they choose to. Uh, Puppet Master, Puppet Master just normally has it, but Arbella can even make rookies. What is
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Batman ally.
Wild card. Yeah.
Yeah, she can wildcard that. Sakari and Iron Man can pick stealth. If you're really desperate, Sakari and Iron Man can just pick Smoke Cloud.
Yeah.
That happened one time. Because if it's the right move. Um,
Doesn't feel like the right move, but
what's that?
that doesn't feel like the right move. Like I've heard people say
Because it
that
wasn't.
they pick TK or Smoke Cloud or Force Blast with his or for his pick a power. I'm like, I feel like you
Mhm.
should just attack.
Well, see, you're for this team specifically, you want to get ahead and force them to react to your
Okay,
combo.
okay. You do have enough attackers to where it doesn't have to be all about Sakai and Iron Man. I gotcha.
Yeah, Commissioner can or Rookie can attack. Uh, Bishop and Shard can attack. Like there's tons of support. Like after four outwits, pretty much anyone is a decent attacker.
Okay, so we'll end it here. I think we've rattled on long enough,
Okay.
or at least I have. Um, so thanks for coming out to the show, and thanks for coming out to the tournament.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For listeners out there, thank you for taking time to hear us chatter. If you would like to participate in the tournaments, we play every Friday, and new players get to play for free. It's a pretty fun and welcoming environment. We have nationals players that lose to people that have never won a nationals or worlds, and that was a pretty fun game that I wish I could have watched. And yeah, come check it out. And if you don't want to play, you can always watch.
Rub it in, man. Come on.
Patrick can take it. He's a Yankee. Uh, and oh yeah, I have to start liking stuff. I was supposed to do that at the beginning of shows, but I always forget until the very end. But please like and subscribe to the show wherever you can. Hit that notification button. It helps get awareness for the show and to get other people. And I would like to expand to as many people as I can. So your podcast app on Facebook, on Spotify, on YouTube. Uh, you if you really like what I provide for you and the community, you can also subscribe to my Patreon, and you could be really, really, really awesome and help me out with that as well. All right, I'm gonna shut up and let y'all take care of something else.
Bye. Don't poop your pants.
Transmission complete.
Is that good? Should we do another take?